How's it going everyone, I'm ZedFiles, and in this video I'm going to be comparing the Deinonychus and the Terrorbird in another episode of Arc Creature Comparison. The first category I'm going to be comparing them in is resistance, and the first test in resistance will be health. For the whole video I'll be comparing the creatures with their base tamed stats. The Deinonychus has 200 health, and the Terrorbird has 270 health, so the Terrorbird wins this test. The second test in the resistance category is armor. The Deinonychus saddle is learnt at level 32 and costs 65 fiber, 110 hide and 20 wood. Terrorbird saddle is learnt at level 33, one level after the Deinonychus saddle, and it costs all the same resources. The Deinonychus wins this test since its saddle is learnt a tiny bit earlier. The resistance category is a draw with 1 win per creature. The second category is attacks. This category also doubles as a test. The Deinonychus's first attack is the bite and claw attack. This attack does 52 damage per hit, can attack 1.5 times every second, which means it has a DPS of 78, uses 5 stamina per hit, and applies a bleed effect. This bleed effect can be stacked up to 5 at a time, each individual bleed effect lasting 7 seconds. Altogether, the 5 bleed effects will drain under 1% of the victim's max health. The Terrorbird's first and only attack is the bite attack. This does 31 damage per hit, can attack 1.6 times every second, which means it has a DPS of 49.6. It uses 5 stamina per hit and applies no effects. The Deinonychus has the better first attack, since it does more damage and applies the bleed effect. The Deinonychus' second attack is the latch/pin attack. This attack allows the Deinonychus to latch onto some medium and large creatures, and also pin down some small creatures, including players. On impact, it does 11 damage, along with the same bleed effect from its bite and claw attack. While on its victim, it will use its claw and bite attack, but a bit slower. It doesn't really have an attack speed or DPS, and uses 75 stamina for the pounce. It rapidly drains stamina at around 20 stamina per second once it is on its victim. The Deinonychus' third attack is the roar. The Deinonychus can only use this attack if it has a pack with it, and it's a pack leader. The roar doesn't do any damage, can be used every 45 seconds, and uses 5 stamina. This roar grants itself and other pack members the packmate buff. This buff lasts 45 seconds, and increases the pack members' damage by 50%, and makes them take reduced damage. The Deinonychus wins the attacks category, with its first attack being better, and the other 2 attacks being automatically better since they had no competition. The third category is mobility. The first test in mobility is speed and stamina. The Deinonychus has 150 stamina and can travel 136 foundations in 26 seconds before running out. This means its speed is 52 foundations per 10 seconds. The Terrorbird has 160 stamina and can travel 153 foundations in 33 seconds before running out. This means its speed is 46 foundations per 10 seconds. This test is a draw because the Deinonychus is a little bit faster, while the Terrorbird has a little bit more stamina. The next test in mobility is turning. I'll have the speed slowed down to 0.5 for this test, so that you can see their turning radiuses more easily. The Deinonychus walking turning radius is very good, and its sprinting turning radius is also very good. It can't sidestep, but it can walk backwards. The Terrorbird's walking turning radius is very good, but its sprinting turning radius is only good. It can't sidestep, but it can walk backwards. The Deinonychus barely wins this test. The third and final test in mobility is swimming. The Deinonychus has 150 oxygen and can swim 10 foundations in 5.3 seconds. The Terrorbird also has 150 oxygen and can also swim 10 foundations in 5.3 seconds. This test is a draw. The Deinonychus wins the mobility category with 1 test won. The next category is utility. The first test in utility is harvesting. The Deinonychus and the Terrorbird can both only harvest dead corpses, so that's meat, hide, keratin, chitin, and so on, but the Deinonychus can harvest these things better than the turbot can. The Deinonychus wins this test. The second test in utility is weight. The Deinonychus has 140 weight, and the turbot only has 120 weight. The Deinonychus wins this test and wins the utility category, with both tests won. The next category is perks. The first test in perks is habitat. This will compare the creature's habitats. The easier habitat wins because it'll make taming the creature a little bit easier as well. The Deinonychus's habitat is the White Cliffs. The White Cliffs is filled with tons of Deinonychuses and other dangerous carnivores that will get in the way while you try to steal a Deinonychus egg. This will make the habitat worse than the terrorbird's main habitat, the redwood forests, which does have quite a lot of aggressive carnivores as well, but a lot less than the White Cliffs do. The terrorbird wins this test. The next test is taming. The creature that is easier to tame wins. Both creatures are aggressive. This can be a good thing for the terrorbird, since when it chases you, you can just boller it and then start tranking it. This is bad for the Deinonychus though, because they will all start chasing you before you even get to steal the egg. It would be easier to tame them if they didn't even chase you. The Deinonychus is a raised tame, much harder than the terrorbird, which is a knockout tame. The Deinonychus's torpor doesn't really matter since it's a raised tame, and the terrorbird has 300 torpor. As we saw from the speed and stamina test, the Deinonychus is a little bit faster than the terrorbird, which will make it harder to get away from or keep at a safe distance. Both creatures are carryable by Argentavises and above. Both creatures can be immobilized by bowlers and above. Both creatures eat meat, but the Deinonychus is going to take longer and eat more than the terrorbird. The terrorbird is much easier to tame and wins this test. The next test in perks is abilities. Bad abilities will earn 0 points, good abilities 1 point, very good abilities 2 points, and super good abilities 3 points. The Deinonychus's first ability is the ability to jump. This is a good ability, so the Deinonychus gets 2 points. The terrorbird's first ability is also being able to jump. It's not as good as the Deinonychus's jump though, so it only gets 1 point. The Deinonychus's next ability is being able to climb up vertical surfaces by jumping up higher and higher. Unfortunately, this climbing mechanic is really glitchy, but most of the time it does work. Another 2 points to the Deinonychus. The terrorbird's second and final ability is the glide ability. This allows the terrorbird to safely glide off heights. This also prevents fall damage, and it also helps its jumps to go further horizontally. 3 points to the terrorbird. The Deinonychus's next ability is that it takes no fall damage. 2 points. The Deinonychus's final ability is the pack leader buff. It is seen by the orange glow around the Deinonychus's head. The highest level creature in the pack will have this pack leader buff. It applies the same effects as the packmate buff, which increases damage by 50% and takes reduced damage. The pack leader and packmate buffs are stackable, so the pack leader can have the pack leader buff and the packmate buff at the same time. 1 point to the Deinonychus. The Deinonychus wins this test. The next and final test in perks, before we get to the battles, is bonuses. Both creatures are rideable, have saddles, allow rider weaponry, can be mate boosted, are breedable, lay eggs, and have the same feces size of small. The only factor that isn't a dual is the damageable structures factor. The Deinonychus can damage up to wood structures, while the terrorbird can only damage up to thatched structures. The Deinonychus wins this test. This category is a draw with 2 wins per creature. The sixth and final category is the battles category. This category will show the creature's unmounted combat capabilities. There'll be 3 battles, the 1v1 battle, the saddled 1v1 battle, and then the 4v4 battle. Now that all of the categories are finished, it's time for the summary. The Deinonychus won the armor, attacks, turning, harvesting, weight, abilities and bonuses tests, so 7 tests, and won the 1v1 and 4v4 battles. The Terrorbird won the health, habitat and taming tests, only 3 tests, and won the 1v1 saddled battle. The other 2 tests were draws. The Deinonychus is better for battles, especially in packs. The Terrorbird is more of a traveling carnivore for early game. In my previous creature comparison video, I compared the Deinonychus and the Raptor. If you want to watch that video, click on it in the top left corner of the screen. And if you guys enjoyed or found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a like, and also make sure to be subscribed to the channel so you don't miss any future creature comparison videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.